If you're a fan of the 4:30 movie, you'll love Best Movies Never Made, hosted by myself, Josh Miller.
And Steven Scarlatta,
where we explore some of the greatest movies never made, like E.T. 2,
Johnny Quest,
Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian,
and Halloween 3D.
New episodes available every other Monday, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hello, I am not Spock, but if I were, I would tell you to listen to the Inglorious Trexperts, in which our Trexperts talk Trek every Saturday, wherever you listen to podcasts. Oh, and live long and whatever.
Hey, this is Mark A. Altman, and if you're a Star Trek fan and you haven't already picked up the hardcover edition of the 50-Year Mission, it's time for you to go out and get the paperback version of the 50-Year Mission, which is just out in paperback from St. Martin's Press. This is the complete oral history of Star Trek, the first 25 years, from me and Ed Gross. And if you think you know everything there is to know about Star Trek, think again. The 50-Year Mission, out in paperback now. And if you can't read, the audiobook is still available. Hey, are you Darren Doctorman from the 4:30 movie?
Why, yes, I am.
Well, I recognize you because I have the Electric Now app, and I get to see all these great Electric Surge podcasts on video for the first time ever.
I'm delighted. I'm delighted that you came up to me and said hello.
Well, I got to tell you, how can I watch all these incredible podcasts like Inglorious Trexperts, The Best Movies Never Made, and other things?
Well, you can find us on Distro and on the Electric Now app.
And Stirr.
And Stirr. See, I knew you knew it.
I did know, because I'm not really a stranger on the street. I'm Mark A. Altman, your co-host.
Well, maybe I should have been watching these podcasts all along. I would have recognized you.
Join us on Electric Now, currently streaming on Distro TV and Stirr, and coming soon to the Electric Now app.
Back in the 70s and 80s, before the advent of VHS, chances are if you saw a classic movie, it was on the 4:30 movie. With their famous theme weeks, it was a chance to see movies you'd never seen before and get reacquainted with some old classics. So now, join us for the 4:30 movie.
Ho, ho, ho! We're here for... What is it? It sounds like we're here to talk about Clute. No, ho, ho, ho! We're here for Holiday Week. No, that doesn't sound right. Ho, 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 ho! We're here for Christmas Week. Ho, ho, ho! It's Christmaka Week.
Christmaka. Why is the one Jewish guy here doing the Christmas?
Ho, ho, ho! It's Secret Santa Week.
He's
on the
really
4:30
Secret
movie.
Santa. He's so secret.
Well, fine. Do it yourself then. I'm leaving. Except I heard there'd be gifts, and I want to stay for the gifts. So welcome. Happy holidays to everybody. I can't believe we're reaching the end of another year, 2019, the year that the replicants went offline. And we're just thrilled. We're thrilled because we're celebrating another year with you guys who have been such a loyal and growing audience. And of course, what's so exciting for the 4:30 movie, not only were we in our second year, but now the video podcasts are live at Distro TV and Stirr, where you can check out the show on video, which is really exciting. We've been asked about that a lot over the last year. Now we're finally live as well as on the Electric Now app. So
finally visible.
We're fine. He's becoming visible, Hanson, and a wrong podcast. And it's really great, and it's been great to spend so much time with you guys this whole year.
Yes, always.
We had a long hiatus, but now we're back.
We're back,
and nobody does it better. And it's been fun. So actually, this week we're gonna do something.
It's our Christmas party, so we're all drunk
on eggnog and blue milk.
Unfortunately, that's completely untrue.
No, but we did what we're doing, and we're going to do Secret Santa this week. Secret Santa is a tradition of the holidays. There's a lot of office parties and stuff. People do it where they give gifts, and we are going to be doing our own little 4:30 movie spin on Secret Santa, thanks to the efforts of our archivist Zach, who basically worked it out so that each one of us would be giving a movie that they've never seen. One of the others that they've never seen.
Zach very kindly facilitated the whole thing and chose randomly who would be giving gifts to who, and then we would submit suggestions for films we would like to give that person, and to maintain anonymity, he would then check with that person to see if any of those films.
And I told Ashley, I've already seen Caligula. Stop.
I think it worked out pretty good.
Yeah.
Because
I do too.
It's not easy picking movies that you guys have not seen.
Yeah.
That's
not
easy
point.
at all.
That's a good point.
And I think we all succeeded in finding something that each haven't seen.
Now, you may be saying there are only 4 of you, so how are you going to do Friday? And I think what we decided is we're going to skip Wednesday.
We're skipping Wednesday because Wednesday is actually Christmas.
It's Christmas. And you
Spend it with your family, God damn it.
I was going to say you should be at the movies.
yes, there you go. See a new
Not
movie.
watching it at home. See a new movie. And, of course, I will have already had my Chinese food Christmas Eve.
Sure.
And I will be at the movies on Christmas. So, I do want to ask, before we get into the movies, what would you like to get this Christmas, Steve Melching? What gift would you like to get?
Oh, my gosh. What
The gift of laughter.
gift of friendship and camaraderie and good times.
What would you really like to get?
A BB gun. Red Ryder BB gun.
Shoot your eye out.
It's funny you say that because, you may be thinking at home, it's like, why aren't they doing Christmas movies? It seems so obvious. Well, we did last year. We did it last Christmas. So if you're interested in our picks for, it's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas week.
You can always go back.
You can go back, or you can watch it on the Electric Now app. Right. But you can go back on audio wherever you listen to podcasts and listen to the full unedited. It's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas week. I think, what were our picks, Steve?
Oh my gosh! Well, I have the list here. Let's see.
The list is life.
Okay, I picked Bad Santa. Darren picked A Miracle on 34th Street.
The original.
Ashley picked A Christmas Story. Mark picked Die Hard. And Friday was Listener's Choice.
Oh, Listener's Choice.
What did the listeners choose?
With the Emperor's Choice.
I don't remember. I don't think we had enough listeners then. To choose
No.
anything.
I don't remember what. We'll have to.
Well, whatever you chose, watch that.
Yeah.
We'll poll the. I think we should poll the audience again. And see what wins for Friday. It was 8 Crazy Nights with Adam Sandler.
Right.
Okay, so we are going to get into the Secret Santa. And Santa. I'm going to start with, of course, Steve on Monday. Steve, what was the film? And I want you to guess who gave it to you. What was the film and who gave it to you?
Well, I'm pretty sure I know who gave it to me. My when I opened up my secret gift, which sounded something like this. My gosh!
They can totally see you, Steve.
We are on video now, Steve.
It was a movie from 1997, and I don't know what it was about 1997 movies about pornography and martial arts. But my gift was Orgasmo. And I am dead certain that it came from Mr. Ashley Miller.
You're wrong.
You're all correct, sir.
Hilarious.
But
that's really funny.
It was a low budget film from '97, relatively early in the careers of Trey Parker and Matt Stone, who of course had been doing South Park for a couple years at that point. And it stars Trey Parker, who Trey wrote, directed, and stars in it. He seems to be the one that does most of the heavy lifting in that partnership, from what I can tell. But so he plays a young Mormon guy who's out going door to door on his mission to spread the good word of the Book of Mormon. And one of the houses whose door he knocks on happens to be a mansion where this porno, Orgasmo, is being filmed. And they're having some difficulty with their leading man. And through a series of events, they end up casting Trey Parker to take over the lead in this porn film. But, of course, he doesn't want to actually do the sex in it, so they bring in a stunt penis to substitute, stunt cock, to substitute for him. And he does it because he really wants to get married in the Mormon temple in Salt Lake City, but it's expensive, and he just doesn't have the money for it. But this porn producer will pay him adequately to be able to wed his fiancée in Utah. So it's
And then comedy ensues.
comedy ensues. And of course, he plays in the film. Trey plays the titular character of Orgasmo, a superhero who has a orgasmerator gun that he can use to, much like the Orgasmatron in Woody Allen's Sleeper, can instantly give the target an orgasm. And he is paired with his Robin-like sidekick Chota Boy, who is an inventor of all kinds of crazy sex gadgetry, and that's the conceit of the porn film, and then that ends up partway through the film turning into real life, where they decide it turns out that the actor who plays Chota Boy is actually a real inventor who has built a real working orgasmerator, and the two of them go out to fight crime on the mean streets of L.A. And the
first crime was the making of this film.
Hey, maybe Ashley should have given you this film.
No, I've seen it, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Then I have not. I'm the only one here who has not seen it.
It's a very low budget film. I think that it was conceived as a musical originally, but they just could not get a big enough budget to do the musical part of it. And
because they'd already done a musical before this.
Cannibal the musical.
Yes.
But this is before Book of Mormon.
Oh, yes, but you can see all the you can see their clear obsession with Mormonism, which came out first in a couple episodes of South Park, where they kind of lampooned Mormonism, and then of course the Book of Mormon musical, which was a fully fledged musical comedy experience.
It's the play everyone was talking about before Hamilton.
Yes. Yes. But I have to tell you something that might blow your minds a little bit. So. As you know, I went to high school in a small mountain town in Colorado, and a town called Woodland Park. And it's up in the mountains and in Teller County, which borders South Park County. So for all intents and purposes, I went to school in South Park.
Great.
And, of course, Trey and Matt are both from Colorado as well. But that's not the crazy part. So
the crazy part is you killed Kenny.
Yeah. So I'm watching the movie, and they're showing the scenes with the porn actors, and the lead. This high school I went to, it was a small high school. There were about 133 people in my graduating class. So I'm watching the movie, and suddenly I realize the lead actress playing the lead porn actress is one of the other 132 people I graduated from high school with.
Did your blood run cold?
Yes.
His memory had just been sold.
It was a porn actress named Julie Ashton, who was in my graduating class in Woodland Park High School, who I found out at my 10-year high school reunion had gone into the porn industry as a hardcore porn actress. And
how does one find that out?
Well, she was at the reunion, and she looked very different than she did in high school. In high school, she's still a nice person. I haven't had contact with her since that high school reunion.
What kind of contact are we talking about?
She was a sweet girl. She was a cheerleader. She was sat next to me in trigonometry class. We had a ton of classes together. Right. There was only 130 of us in the whole school. So
Jay Giles was on the other side.
Yes. But I just remember this, just hanging out with her and saw her every day for years in high school, and she became this big porn actress, and then suddenly I get this Secret Santa gift, and there she is.
Merry Christmas.
I think this film was shot the year after my high school reunion. Wow.
So I want to see this movie. I want to see the movie of Steve's experience going to school with this young lady and then discovering that. Anyway, wow, that's
thank you, Ashley. It was this was a movie I was always curious about but never saw, and it had this extra bonus of seeing someone that I knew.
It was a trip down memory lane for Steve.
I am so happy you enjoyed it. I got it. Because, Christmas comes but once a year. Wow. And there was a stocking that needed to be stuffed and a bell that needed to be rung, and Santa comes down the chain. Anyway, I got this for you because I have learned over the last year in so many different ways your appreciation of the utterly absurd. And the slightly wrong, and sometimes the very wrong. And I love the unholy crap out of this movie. I think Chota Boy is just a great comic creation. Here's a guy who who keeps telling us how he refuses to do hamster style. It's a martial arts style because he promised his father he would not do hamster style. And then they do a flashback where you learn why he won't do hamster style, and it's so perfect. It has Ron Jeremy in it, playing the villain, and in both on set, the hamster playing the villain like on set, and also in reality, he plays a character named Jizzmaster Zero. Now, here's how you know that my love for this movie is real. Right. Just for those of you who are out there, like when we start tweeting this out, just take a quick look at my Twitter handle. You'll understand everything.
I just want to say.
Oh my God, I never made that connection.
I'm really happy that I did not get Ashley as my secret.
I would have gotten you a different movie.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully. That's the key to being a good Secret Santa. To try
but it's
to
great
something.
It's so Trey and Matt. It's so bananas and out of control, and just it goes places you don't expect it to go,
and hope it doesn't, but it does
anyway. And then it goes there. It's awesome. I love it.
Well, I'm glad. It seems like it was a love connection. It was a good success.
Fun.
Yeah, Steve enjoyed it.
Yeah.
A good pick from Ashley. So Monday was Orgasmo.
Never
the first and last time you'll ever hear those words mentioned on this podcast. Okay, very good. So that brings us, of course, to Tuesday. Darren Doctorman, what was the film that you received, and who do you think gave it to you?
I received, on all of these, we got a choice of 2 or 3.
Just to make sure you hadn't seen.
Just to make sure we hadn't seen it. Because, all 4 of us have seen a lot of movies.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
And it's really hard to pick something that each of us haven't seen. Luckily, I hadn't seen one of them. But looking at the list, I knew exactly who it came from. It came from Mark Altman.
What was the film, Darren?
The film was Wait Until Dark.
Oh, yeah.
From 1967. And
a good choice.
It is a good choice, I have to say. And here it is. It's still wrapped, but this is the Blu-ray of it. Luckily, when I heard of the choice, I had another version of it that I was able to access. So I watched it then. But I had never seen it. I certainly heard about it. And, it was made in the year of my birth, which is nice.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Audrey Hepburn, of course, stars in the film as a blind lady whose husband is the strangely miscast Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. Completely unbelievable as a photographer or as her husband or as pretty much anything in the film. But that's neither here nor there because he's hardly in the film at all. But there is a mix-up at the airport at the beginning. And an item is transferred that becomes an important goal for the characters in the film later on. And I'm also grateful for you because this is my first chance to use my Alan Arkin voice, which I don't think I've ever done on this show. And I'm really grateful for that, Mark. Really. Because I've never used it before. But Alan Arkin is.
I should have given you the in-laws.
But I've seen that before.
Oh, okay.
So that wouldn't have worked. Alan Arkin is horrifically frightening in this movie.
You would have never guessed.
You would never guess. Yeah. He is so evil and so horrific. He's a monster, and it's so great to watch. Richard Crenna is also in it. And he's very odd. He's also slightly miscast, but it's fine because he plays sort of a con man and he dwells outside the realm of lawfulness, and he and his partner are tasked with retrieving this object from this blind woman. And it has been lost somehow. And we go through the process of, this is also, we were talking about in a previous episode, this was also a stage play.
Yep.
And we were talking about, efforts for filmmakers to sort of expand the bounds of a stage-bound play. This does it a tiny bit. and it's not intrusive. It's not. It doesn't pull you out of the experience, but it is absolutely a stage experience watching this film.
Yeah, it mostly takes place in her apartment.
Mostly takes place in 2 rooms in the apartment, and it's really well done. It's produced by Mel Ferrer, who was her husband at the time, and it's really engaging and fun and scary and exciting, and it's a great pick. And I thank you. For
No, my pleasure. I'm so glad. I'm a little surprised you hadn't seen it, but I'm thrilled that you got to see it.
It's just one of those things that sort of slipped through the cracks.
You know who directed it? Terrence Young.
Oh, that's right. Yes, from Bond.
Terrence Young, who did Dr. No and From Russia with Love and Thunderball, and you can sort of see some of that From Russia with Love in
a little bit.
Waiting Till Dark, because that scene, of course, on the Orient Express in the train car is such a great action scene in a tiny space.
Yeah.
And the same thing here. This is really terrifying in this tiny little apartment.
And it talk about empowerment for the female character. It's amazing. The stages she goes through to come up with the ending of the film are amazing to watch.
Yeah, and they didn't need to get any pressure on Twitter to cast empowered female protagonists. It's like they came
did
to
it on their own.
They did it on their own. Yeah. And it's such a great role, and Audrey Hepburn's so great. I mean, Audrey Hepburn is great in virtually everything, but she's really, really special.
Really, really good in this.
In it, and does an amazing job. And it's just it's late Terrence Young. It's probably his last really good movie. Mm-hmm. Kind of Audrey Hepburn. It's probably her last really good movie too.
I would agree too.
Yeah. And just a really, really a great thriller, great little thriller.
Absolutely.
And then years later, the play was brought back to Broadway with Quentin Tarantino. I don't remember if Quentin played the Alan Arkin role or if it was the Richard Crenna role, but it was one of those guys.
That's interesting.
And I would have liked to have seen it.
It wasn't the Ephraim Zimbalist Jr.
It was definitely not Ephraim Zimbalist Jr.
No, Mark, when you got that for Darren, like what specifically made you go, Darren has to see this?
I didn't know it was for Darren.
You didn't?
They didn't tell me it was for Darren.
You're right.
I had no idea. I just knew it was a movie for one of you guys that you hadn't seen. And I just thought that this was a good little thriller that could have slipped through the cracks. Just like how you hadn't seen Sleuth when he talked about Sleuth on a previous episode. And I hadn't seen Nightcrawler. He hadn't seen Nightcrawler.
It certainly slipped past me. I've never seen this movie.
Oh, really?
Great. Yeah.
Oh, you should
it's
see
great.
it. You'd like it too.
And I'll tell you why. And I don't remember this or not. But 10 years ago, on Femme Fatales, you were going to do that whole episode that was a nod to Wait Until Dark.
Yes, that's right.
And then it got killed.
That's right. We were going to do that as a second season episode.
Yeah.
A third season episode. Had the show been renewed for a third season, we were doing a total Wait Until Dark homage.
Well, my previous only exposure to it was in this this string together title game of movies that we used to do, and it was the first part of. It was Heaven Can Wait Until Dark, Victory at Sea of Love, story of Oh Lucky Man on Firestarter. That was our long string together. But I had never seen it before, and I really loved it.
Oh, that's great. I'm really happy. Well, Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. And I feel like in Kirk's apartment where he gives him the
that's right.
the eyeglasses. It's very. I'm really happy.
I'm allergic to rain. Wait Until Dark.
and thank you, Mark, because Darren's loaning it to me, so now I can watch
fantastic.
it too.
Great.
I'm re-gifting the Secret
quite
Santa.
Right.
Passing it around.
You can drink it with some Romulan
Just
ale.
like an orgasmo.
Oh, God. Oh, what has gone on with the show today?
It's Christmas.
Christmas. We're all high on the eggnog. And the blue milk. I like it. Did you have the blue milk? You weren't at Galaxy.
I've never
Did you
been
have the
there.
blue milk?
I did not have the blue
It
milk.
was okay. It was okay. Although I have to say again, I prefer the what's the stuff at Harry Potter and Hogwarts? The
Butterbeer?
Butterbeer.
Now-
Butterbeer is good.
Dude, I had one of those about 3 months into my keto diet. And I realized when I completed it that I had had more sugar in that moment than I had in 3 months total. It was just...
That's really funny.
I thought it was going to blow me off my... It was fine, but it's
That's
good but dangerous.
really funny.
Yeah.
There's so much sugar in it, but it's so good.
It's really good.
Yeah. Okay. So Ashley, we're on the Thursday. Wednesday was Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone. And now you've watched Rudolph and Baby New Year.
Rudolph and Frosty.
and Santa Claus is coming to town, and
Charlie Brown.
maybe you've watched Miracle on 34th Street. Sure. The original black and white, non-colorized version, right. or perhaps instead when we watched Elf, I don't know.
Right.
It's too early. I'm not taking the tree down yet.
Yeah,
I'm leaving it up for another week.
So we're skipping Christmas.
Thursday, the tree is still up. The garbage bags are filled.
The fire is roaring.
The children are hitting each other with their new toys, crying and screaming. The
children are nestled all snug in their cages.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to Ashley. So, Ashley, what did you receive for Secret Santa? What was your film?
Who do you think gave it to you?
Okay. So, I got. First of all, I don't know if it could have been more perfect, both in terms of, hey, I hadn't seen it before, and also just right up my alley. But between that selection. And, we got kind of the list of, well, what else haven't you seen? Obviously I know now because identities have been revealed. But even if I hadn't, I would have guessed DAREN DOCHTERMAN got me The Spanish Prisoner.
Oh, what a great choice.
I mean, it's like, it honestly, like I guess it's kismet, right?
I love that movie.
It's a great movie, dude. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad you haven't seen it.
No, I was so excited.
And better than House of Games.
A little bit. It's different. It's a lot different.
House of Games.
I love House of Games.
But I haven't seen Spanish Prisoner in a while. So.
Yeah. It's really great. And I love Mamet, but I had never seen it.
That's awesome.
And
I'm so glad.
I love his dialogue, and there's something about the way that he shoots that film that's just very it's very old school.
It's laid back.
Yeah, man. It's like it's very laid back, very cool. Like, he just lets the actors kind of get on stage and do their thing, and you can tell the actors trust the material, they trust the dialogue. Campbell Scott basically plays a guy who invents what's called the process, right? And the process is a way for some indeterminate company, the MacGuffin to control their market, right? When it's like, well, how much of a windfall are we looking at?
Right.
Like, when he tells them, he just writes a big number on a board,
right. And
but
we never see
shot from behind the board, so you never see the big number.
We see their reactions.
Exactly. Yeah. It's pretty brilliant. And he gets caught up in this con, but because it's Mamet, there are cons within cons. Now, The Spanish Prisoner as a title is a reference to a particular con that's been around for hundreds of years, where essentially somebody contacts you and says, hi, I'm a person who is in dire straits. I have a lot of money or some other resources that you might want. I know that you're an honest person, a good person, what have you. And if only you could help me, then maybe I can help you and you can share in the spoil. So
you may recognize it from internet scams.
Yes, exactly. Nigerian bank scams are like, they're the king of like Spanish prisoner cons. And it's got Steve Martin, who is who's playing, I guess what you could call the bad guy. But he's not really. It's more like he feels like it, but he's really just a player in the con.
Yeah, he's the bad guy.
He's definitely well.
His name's Jimmy Dell.
Yeah, Jimmy Dell.
And he's a man of mystery and a lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah, and he's perfectly cast.
Perfect.
Because Steve Martin is just he's just one of those guys that you just want to trust. But
he's affable, but you have no idea where he's coming from.
Exactly, and Martin brings like this weight to it and this authenticity. So when he's telling him things like, "Hey, wait, I have a package that could you bring it to my sister in New York?" You're like, "Oh, of course, cool." And just God, it's hard to talk about this movie like giving away the twists, except to say that almost nothing is what you think it is, including what's going on with the main character, and all of that like. I mean, I don't even know what to say, except other than like it's Mamet. I love the dialogue. I love the performances. It's like there's a certain Mametian sort of affectation. You know what I mean? It's like she's got the flu. She's got the flu. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's that kind of stuff. But
Are you saying
lots
she got
of
the flu?
You're saying she's got the flu. Yeah, she's got the flu.
lots of characters echoing each other for no apparent reason.
Or sometimes
other
just
than
echoing
that's-
themselves.
Yeah.
But it all kind of works in this very lyrical way. And it's just endlessly engaging. Because it just moves like that. Like, I didn't want to pause to get up and hit the head or go, do bang the toddlers over the noggin and tell them to put down the Kindle or whatever it was. It was just like, yeah, I'm watching this.
Right.
It's truly great. I feel like those feelings that you get like when you just discover a film.
That's awesome.
And it's just that's how I felt about it. So thank you.
You're welcome.
He had such a good run of films. House of
Games,
Games,
which is incredible.
and then Spanish Prisoner and Hi Stephen, and and then he also State and Maine was his.
State and Maine.
Yeah. It was a good run of movies, but I think to me, Spanish Prisoner is the best of those.
Yeah, it's really great. And again, it has like this very I want to say it kind of has like a very Hitchcockian kind of feel to it. Even right down to how some of the transitions work in that film that are they're very 60s kind of transitions.
There's a hovering of doom over every scene, and you don't know why.
Yeah.
But it's there.
That's right. It's like even just going into a club for dinner and just a whole scene where the maitre d' is telling Jamie Dell, telling Steve Martin, well, sir, it's Saturday night and only club members on a Saturday night. And this whole thing where Steve Martin's like, well, okay, those are the rules. And fine, he's a member now. And but there's tension in that scene you just can't quite put your finger on. Right. And you realize, of course, it's all about the con. Right? But it just...
But you realize... Of course, I would have been taken in by this immediately.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, because the movie's unpredictable. It's not one of these things where you see the ending coming a mile away.
Yeah.
I mean, it bobs and weaves and so serpentine. It's really terrific.
Serpentine,
in that
I like that word.
And it's funny because 30 Rock did the comedic version of that,
right?
Where Steve Martin played this con man in 30 Rock, where he pulls it on Donaghy and Liz Lemon, and it's really funny. And I never really thought about how that episode, Gordon Fuller, is so much like his character in Spanish Prisoner.
Oh, that's really terrific. Just what a great idea.
What year was that from?
90s, right?
Something.
Maybe.
I saw it in the theater when it came out, and I haven't seen it since, but I enjoyed it in the theater.
97.
Wow, another 97.
It's hard to find it.
No, Criterion did, didn't they? No, they didn't. They did House of Games.
They did House of Games.
Yeah.
It's up until recently, it's been really hard to find. It is on Amazon. Because I recently got it on Amazon. Because I can't find my DVD of it anywhere. It's not on Blu-ray.
No.
Yeah, I have the DVD too, but I never watch my DVDs, only my Blu-rays. Yeah. It's like watching DVDs. It's like watching Super 8. It's unbelievable.
Yes,
so funny. Yeah, wow, another great choice. Boy, do you guys know each other, or do we know each other?
Right.
I think we're lucky.
It's not like you listen to commentary together on a plane, but
no, it's nothing like that.
That's
Remember that time we went mattress shopping together?
Oh my God, I do. Steve and I
we both needed a bed.
both needed a mattress, and we were in the store, and
we're learning stuff that maybe we don't want.
They were trying out the mattress, and I want one too. We're not buying this together.
I remember at one point, I think we had we said to the guy, it's like, yeah, we're not no. It's like, I remember.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, right, exactly. That was exactly that. It was like, not that there's anything wrong with that, but, we want to make sure these mattresses are good for us and our girlfriends.
That was the same year we also went and bought our TiVos, our first TiVos together, I believe.
We did. We bought our TiVos together at Best Buy. Or was it Circuit City? It may have been Best Buy. Good Guys.
Good Guys over
Good
by
Guys
on La Cienega.
Lots of 24-hour Good Guys. Yeah. This is how good. This is why I moved to L.A. Because L.A., forget about Last Call. L.A. had a 24-hour electronics store called The Good Guys. So you could go and buy, speakers, at 2 a.m. It was the greatest thing ever.
We've been hearing about how great TiVo was, and we were talking let's go get him tonight.
Let's go get
we met there and went and got our TiVos.
We went and got our TiVos.
Wow. Which was one of to this day, maybe the greatest single piece of technology I ever
heard. Oh, it was so great. You got your little Mr. TiVo, little stuffed TiVo guy. And they had a good remote, unlike Apple TV, which I do love, but the remote is the worst.
TiVo remote was great. I love the thumbs up and thumbs down feature. You can give something 2 or 3, and then it will suggest things for you. That was the best.
TiVo was the best. And then at some point, at least in my case, it was DirecTV. They got rid of the TiVo thing, so you had to use their proprietary generic. And it didn't hold a candle to TiVo. And then years later, TiVo came back, and you could do TiVo.
Oh, it was expensive.
But it was expensive, and it like that time had passed. But I felt like I was like jilting a girlfriend when I got rid of TiVo. No. I mean, it was really a horrible thing. It was like, goodbye, TiVo.
You didn't get rid of TiVo.
TiVo got rid of me. That's right.
I still have mine. It's in storage.
I think I have a TiVo in storage too. I couldn't bear to part with it.
I have a TiVo sitting at home, and I don't use it.
Yeah.
I don't use it at all.
Well, now everything's on demand.
You guys are like just this close to being a flashback montage in Casablanca. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to hear that story. You guys are like walking
Steve
into the
and I were
boardwalk
friends.
and sharing an ice cream.
Buying TiVos and mattresses.
And you know what's scary?
Headphones on the...
People are going to be so offended about this conversation. And it was the 90s. It was a different time.
It's friendship.
It's exactly. It was the 90s. It was different. It was a different time back then. But we, man, that 24-hour Good Guys, man, that was the best.
That's good stuff.
They didn't have like Blu-ray. I mean, obviously, but they didn't sell DVDs or CDs there. It was all electronics. But you could buy TV, subwoofer.
Yeah,
as I did on
subwoofer, 3:30 in the morning.
I mean, forget Crazy Eddie's. I mean, this was 24-hour Good Guys was a thing of beauty. It was great, and then it went away, and then it was gone.
It's gone. It's gone.
It's gone.
And we couldn't do nothing about it.
It's just gone.
Every day was Christmas at the 24 hours.
That is a great Goodfellas reference, by the way. I have to give you credit. I don't want that to slide by without giving you the credit you deserve, because that was a really good Goodfellas reference. And it's not like he's like everybody says, you do a Godfather reference or something. It's like all these low-lying fruit.
That's a deep cut.
Yeah, but that was a deep cut. Yeah, and I really respect that.
Thank you.
It's not like
I just watched it in 4K the other day. It looked great.
See, that's
funny.
great.
I just watched it in Blu-ray like last week. It's crazy.
Yeah, but not 4K.
Because sometimes we go for the easy references. That was a deep cut, and a beautiful one at that.
Thanks.
We should go mattress shopping one day.
I hear that's how you operate.
Well, you got to watch your TiVo from somewhere.
Jesus! Oh my God! We're on video now. Come on. It's a whole new audience. They're going to watch this and say, these guys are awful. These are awful people.
They're awful. They're awful.
The worst.
We can't get away with this stuff anymore.
Terrible.
We live in a different world. It's not funny. What? It's pretty funny.
Nobody's laughing.
Nobody's laughing. Okay. So
most of our viewers are laughing their asses off.
You make fun. The show is doing really well. Right. It's not doing Glorious Trexperts well, but we're doing very well. This whole joke about the viewership, it's like the audience is we were doing well. We have a lot of loyal listeners and viewers. Hopefully, you at home are watching us right now, thinking about mattresses and TiVo.
And headphones.
I'm sure I bought headphones there a couple of times, too. I know I bought a subwoofer. I remember I was at our friend Alan Spencer's house. We just watched Ice and Station Zebra, and he had just gotten
Ice and Station.
I think he was the first person who had like the surround setup and everything and a subwoofer. I was like, wow, that sounds really good. Oh, he had like Super VHS. This was better than VHS. It was Super VHS. So after I left Alan's house, I went to Good Guys
and bought a Super VHS.
And I bought a Super VHS
what made
player.
It super?
It was a bit higher resolution.
Slightly higher
resolution.
It wasn't quite Laserdisc.
It wasn't 400 lines. It was 420 lines.
Ooh. No, it was more than that, wasn't it?
No.
It was not. I'd buy a freaking Super VHS player.
There were 20 lines, my man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was like, oh, yeah, this is super. This is better.
Yeah.
It's better.
It was.
And unlike Laserdisc, it can record. Because,
I don't know how much more.
I already had a Laserdisc.
I'm just making it up. I don't know.
But it was great.
It doesn't matter anymore because now we're in the age of 4K.
We are.
4K.
Well, now you can even buy 8K if you want.
Yeah,
if you want.
Like, if you
wouldn't.
can see
There's nothing out.
If you got a chair that you can put 80 feet back from your television, sure, why not?
That's not true. 4K looks great.
But
it also has HDR, so the HDR alone is worth it.
I do have to say that I subscribe to the Vudu service on my TiVo or my Roku box.
Yeah.
On my 4K TV.
Yes.
It's amazing. I'm just going through and buying films on the Vudu service and streaming them in 4K, it looks great. And they're full, Dolby HDR, and it looks unbelievable. It's the best possible home representation we've ever seen.
Also, a lot of the stuff, even if you can't appreciate the benefits of 4K, they're remastered for 4K.
Yes.
So they look better than they would on the Blu-ray disc from 8 years ago.
Right.
So, I mean, like Wizard of Oz just came out of 4K.
Oh, my God. I got it immediately.
Unbelievable.
It's amazing.
Oh, my God. It's so good.
Yeah.
And then, even though Apple iTunes has all the Bond movies in 4K, they just put them out on disc, the Daniel Craig ones. They look amazing.
Yeah.
So it's important to support physical media. This is one of our first shows, and I think 4K is with the right discs.
Absolutely.
You don't have to buy everything again. It's not like when Blu-ray came out and like every DVD we bought, and Laserdisc and everything we bought on DVD again.
Although I would.
Would you rebuy everything on 4K? I would.
Absolutely. If the transfers were as good as the good transfers are in 4K.
Some of my Blu-rays are good enough.
I'm spoiled.
But I would say, for stuff like The Godfather, for stuff like the Star Trek movies, for stuff like Chinatown, certain movies, I will go to 4K. I'll go to the mattresses for 4K. But not everything.
Cut, but we'll take it.
It's just like, how many times do I buy this stuff again? It's like, come on. And it's like
all the times.
All the
it's true.
I don't know. Anyway, so Friday.
Yes, we're looking at you.
Very special day. Christmas is over.
The goose is getting fat. No.
Boxing Day is over.
You've had your cheesecake or whatever you eat on Christmas. What do you eat on Christmas? Ham?
Turkey, ham, I don't know.
Turkey? What do you do on Christmas? You talk about how great Jesus is. What else do you do?
No, we rarely talk about how great Jesus is.
I don't know. I mean, I just know presents. That's
he's only a baby then.
That's true.
He's not. He's
it's like Kal-El when he's arriving. He's just greatness is in store, but it hasn't.
Like changing his diaper?
Who? Kal-El?
Kal-El. What's that like?
Very gritty.
Probably so. Right? It's like the kryptonite. I mean, he's been in that diaper.
I mean, I'd hate to open that spaceship after all those years.
Right?
So here's a question: if he's Superman is really needs to go number 2,
right?
But he can't get to a toilet, so he's holding it in.
Yeah.
Will a diamond come out because he's clenching so tightly to keep?
Is this a serious question, or is this just your attempt to be funny?
Only if he eats charcoal.
Okay.
Well, hey, maybe he does.
I don't know. Why
Sometimes you're just hungry for charcoal.
I put this uncomfortable hunk of metal.
It's funny. Darren and I and Ashley had done, 40, 50 episodes of Inglorious Trexperts. They were all really great. Some better than others.
Well,
then
Ashley
we
didn't do 50
Well, he
episodes.
didn't do but Rob Burnett and our other guests. And then we did one that was just a dud. It was just a dud. This is going to be our dud on the 4:30 movie. No, you don't think?
It's not a dud.
No,
it's not a dud.
It's Christmas.
The magic of the magic of Orgasmo
and Pooperman
and the awakening of Ashley to the Spanish prisoner. It's all wonderful. And
Die Hard.
And the Great Wait Until Dark.
Yeah. No, it's true.
So
it's true.
all
Okay.
We're discovering new.
I'm sorry.
Strange
I'm just
new worlds.
I'm worried because we screwed the pooch on this one episode. We got called out on it.
No, we didn't screw the pooch.
No, you think it was worth a shot?
It was worth a shot because you know what?
Risk
Damn
is our business, gentlemen.
Look, they're wrong.
I don't know if they're wrong.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Yeah, they are.
You liked that episode?
I did.
I liked it better when I listened to it.
I liked it a lot.
Okay.
Especially when you realize that it came from nothing.
Yeah. Okay. That's true.
We had the idea and we just did it.
That's true. So, Steve, we did this episode.
He was in it.
He was in
it.
he
was in it.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Yeah, that's right. He was in it.
Oh, my
right.
goodness.
I'm so sorry, Steve. That's how
it was Steve's first
Steve was
my
good.
one and only
Steve
appearance on
Yeah.
the Trexperts.
Well, we want you back.
So maybe the reaction was to Steve.
We want you
Yeah.
back. No,
Oh.
not at all.
Oh,
Steve
no.
was great.
Oh, no.
Steve did nothing wrong. It was something wrong with the idea. Because
Look, it was just a fun thing.
It was
to
a
do.
fun
It was
thing
just
to do.
goofy. It was fun.
okay,
It's
Fair
okay
enough.
to have fun
It was
with
a
friends.
Shop for
Some
mattresses.
little thing we.
Some people take things way too seriously.
And that's what we're
I
doing
think that
here
was
today.
what the reaction was.
Yeah.
We're having
No,
fun.
you know what I think it was? I think people genuinely wanted to hear us pitch a 4th season of Star Trek. They're curious. They think this is the guy who wrote Thor and X-Men First Class.
Yeah.
He's going to have great ideas.
Not for
But you know
free.
what? I didn't want to pitch them. I didn't want to pitch our ideas.
No.
because you know what? We get paid to do that.
I know.
Yeah. Plus, the Joy Machine is great.
The Joy Machine was a real script, though.
Yeah,
you realize
exactly.
we didn't make that up.
Oh,
That was
no,
a
I
Ted
know. I mean,
Sturgeon episode.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's the thing. None of those things were made up.
Yeah.
They were all referencing existing things.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
wrong
get it.
show. Now we're Friday.
Friday.
Yeah, we're Friday.
High on the eggnog. Okay. So I received. Do I need to do the fake?
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
Oh,
You're
wow.
doing
What
it
did you
now.
get?
So I'm opening my present. And I love Christmas presents. I gotta tell you, there's no war on Christmas in my house. You can give me Christmas present, Hanukkah present, Kwanzaa. I'll take it all. I love presents. So I got a movie which again, how well we know each other. That I had not seen, and B, that I had wanted to see for a very long time, and for a variety of reasons had never seen in a genre that I love. And that movie is Open Range, directed by Kevin Costner. A glaring omission in my Western knowledge. And it's funny because, I did a TV series for the producer of the movie, who I loved working with, a great producer named Ari Bernstein. And he'd bring it up from time to time. And every time I bring it up, I'm like, I got to watch that movie. And it was it's a great little Western. And I remember when it came out, there were no expectations. People say Westerns are dead, and ended up making a ton of money. I think it paved the way for Kevin's hit show Yellowstone right now. That's a big hit for Paramount Network. And it's funny because it is not a great movie. It's not a great classic Western. It is a very entertaining, solid Western anchored by a really good performance by Robert Duvall. Kevin Costner is fine. Duvall is fantastic, as he always is. And it's really beautifully shot. It's no Dances with Wolves. It's not like this Oscar-winning, worthy of all this, but it's really... It's very painterly. It's like the visuals are it has all the great Western iconography, But I wouldn't put it next to Unforgiven and say, oh, these are great, the classic Westerns, because this to me was more of a throwback. In a way, Silverado is this wonderful throwback to the Westerns we loved. This is a great throwback. It's just oh, they don't make movies like this anymore. This is just a really fun Western. And what I loved about it is it's that sort of High Noon paradigm flipped. In High Noon, you have Gary Cooper that a lot of people compare Kevin Costner to. They say he was, especially in the 80s, they would say, oh, he's like the modern Gary Cooper. Now nobody knows who Gary Cooper is. But back then they would say, oh, Kevin Costner's like the new Gary Cooper. So I love the fact that he kind of did High Noon. But in High Noon, of course, was made during The Blacklist. And so it was all about how this guy had to stand alone when everyone in the town abandoned him. And he could have run, but he stood up. And, ultimately Grace Kelly, who played his wife, was going to run away. But she ends up, standing by her man. And she ends up being very important to the resolution. This kind of flips it, which I love, in the sense that the whole town sort of has his back. It's very, It's like the anti-High Noon in that way. It's like, I love the fact that, now that these two guys are going to go up against, these really, the evil land baron.
A foreign-born, an Irish land baron who owns all this land and is trying to stop out the open
free grazers.
Yeah.
I mean, and it got to the point where it was like, I don't know if it was a drinking game or you got to laugh, but he's like, you have all these movies like Frank Miller and High Noon. He put me in jail, and now I want my revenge. All this stuff you could really understand why the villain has it out for our heroes. And this movie, the MacGuffin is, you free grazers, their cattle reign free and eat the grass, Right. And he's like, I hate those free grazers. And it just got to the point where it's like, really?
But that's a real thing.
No,
that was
totally
really part of Western history.
And it feels very real. It feels like, you're writing the research, which, it totally felt germane. I'm not saying that it didn't feel real. It felt much more grounded than a lot of movies, other Westerns. But it was just funny.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
it
Michael
so absurd.
Pimpone, who before he played the lovely, Dumbledore, everybody fell in love with Michael. He used to play all these guys, He was the second Dumbledore.
Right.
Yeah, but he used to play like Let Him Have It, I think, or
You
The
just
Craze.
didn't. You hadn't mentioned his name before then.
Right.
Oh, okay. So Michael Gambon, he played he always played these really bad. So in this, he plays like this villain. I would like to see more of him because he's great. Yeah. But he's like, I'm gonna get you, freak grazers, and it's but it's so beautifully shot. There's a whole love story with Annette Bening. I'm kind of on the fence about. I guess for this kind of classic Western storytelling, you need it. Everything sort of went exactly the way I expected it to. But there's there's a comfort. It's comfort food, and it's this kind of classic storytelling. There's no surprise there.
Yeah.
But and Annette Bening is always good. I'm not sure how much I need this story, but I really enjoyed it. I just think it's super fun. Like I said, it was a gaping omission.
Well, you see who else was in it? It was Diego Luna,
a
very young Diego Luna.
He's great, and I totally from Rogue One, who I love.
Yeah.
And he plays a guy who rides with them, and that's how I like how it inverted a lot of the Western tropes. It's like these guys ride together, and there's their friend Mo, who is just this big guy, bear of a guy who just everybody loves, and he's such a nice guy, and and then he gets killed. Of course, they want revenge. And Diego Luna, he has a lot to learn.
The young hothead who wants to be involved more. And...
You know what this movie is? It's the Western John Wick. It's the Western John Wick. They kill his dog, which I didn't like. I didn't like that. I don't like any movie where they kill the dog. That's something Dean taught the world. In Independence Day, the most important thing is save the dog. Yeah. That's why that movie made a $400 million, $1 billion, whatever. It's because Dean knew you don't kill the dog. And I know it sounds terrible. There's all this tragedy in the world, all these people who are suffering. But it's like you see an animal die, and it's like awful. And it's like, don't kill the dog. But so to me, it had this whole John Wick. Now, once they killed the dog and he had to bury the dog, now we're gonna go get those sons of bitches. Yeah. And there's some great action. I mean, Kevin Costner, very good. The gunfight. It's one of those classic.
I think the movie itself may just be like a B or a B plus, but that gunfight is great.
Yes.
The whole gunfight, the third act gunfight, is one of my favorite gunfights.
It's a B plus movie, but it's a solid B plus.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Not every movie is Citizen Kane.
Yes.
But
it's always disappointing when a gunfight is just okay.
Yes.
Unless you are Wyatt Earp, in which case your gunfight is at okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was my point.
Oh. Okay.
But it's a really good gun. It goes on for quite a while.
Yeah, it's like
the movie's 2 hours and 20 minutes. But it's a really good gunfight, and it's a nice town.
Yeah, that town was built from scratch in Alberta, Canada. They built the entire town.
And I like the whole thing where the town is flooding, which is another realistic. There's some nice sort of realistic
use
touches.
Of weather in the movie.
Tell you what I don't like: the Michael Kamen score.
Really?
I did not like the Michael. There's so many great Western scores. Elmer Bernstein with Magnificent Seven. I'm a big connoisseur of these great Western scores. John Williams with the Cowboys, and the Michael Kamen score just did not work for me. I don't know. It's just
it was fine. It wasn't special, I guess you could say. It's not like a
Sergio Leone or Ennio Morricone, or even Basil Polidoris' score for Lonesome Dove, which is so magnificent, or John Barry for Dance with the Wolves. Yeah. It almost felt like it was trying to be a little John Barry-esque, and it didn't quite nail it. And of course, Michael Kamen's score for Die Hard is just brilliant. Yeah. Speaking of Christmas, but I really, it was a great pick. But it's something I've wanted to watch for a long time, and I love Westerns, and I don't have much cause to watch them much. Although I just bought the Bud Bedecker collection. It came out on Blu-ray.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
It's on Blu-ray now?
Yeah, I just bought that, and which has some of our favorite movies like Ride Lonesome and The Tall T and everything. Yeah.
I put Open Range in my list of potential movies in case I got you, because I know how much you like Westerns, and I didn't think you would. It's one of those movies, like, I hadn't seen it. My dad gave it to me for Christmas one year because it's one of the things we share, a love of Westerns, so he'll often get me a Western that I hadn't seen, and I watched it again this week too, except I only have the DVD of it, since I got it so long ago.
And there's a nice scene where Kevin Costner is talking about his past,
Yeah.
you know, and you realize he's not the free grazer you think he is, you know, freaking free grazers, and
just more of a discount grazer.
And it's just so, but you know, it's funny because once they establish that's the motivation for going after these guys because they're free grazing and you know grazing off the land, it's fine. It's just they repeat the free grazing thing. So at the end, I'm not going to let any free grazer tell me what to do. You know, it's like okay, it's just there's something goofy about it. I don't know, but I just look, and I love the way that there's probably no person who is more, you know, who's kept the Western alive more than Kevin Costner. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, whether it be with his new TV show, but also, you know, just with these movies. And, you know, it's interesting, but it's just, of course, Dance with Wolves, you know, people don't talk about it a lot now. I mean, that's really a very special film that he made. And, you know, this is just a total fun kind of
it's what you in the old days probably call a programmer.
It's a programmer. It's a total
there's nothing
programmer.
wrong with that. It's
Not
solid.
at all, because it's totally solid. Yeah. But I like it. I don't like free grazers, but I like this movie. Got no call for them.
But you do like the Rescuers Down Under.
It's the hat. Yeah. You know, I need a haircut, so I'm wearing a hat. What can I say?
Right. You hippie.
Yeah, you damn hippies.
This was a good week.
It's a good week. It's a
Real good week. Who would have thought?
It's Christmas.
You know, it's
Cheer.
it's a time for miracles. But
Jesus Christ, this was a great week.
Oh my goodness.
So Monday.
Monday was Orgasmo.
Okay. Tuesday.
Wait until dark.
Thursday.
The Spanish Prisoner.
And Friday, it's Open Range. Except
all
for
right.
free grazers.
You know, I don't like free grazers either. I think they're untrustworthy.
Oh my God! Hey, should we everybody recommend films to the audience? This is a curveball. Nobody's ready for this.
No.
No, I'm not ready for this.
No.
Okay.
We recommend the ones that we just watched.
Okay, fair enough. Good. You know.
Is that okay?
But you know what? Let's ask the audience. You know, on social, where you can follow us at 430 Movie Pod, and also on Facebook at the Electric Surge. Electric Surge now has a Facebook page. Let us know what you would give us.
We always are open to hearing from audience members.
We love that.
Yeah.
We love to hear from you, and you know,
except you know.
we value your what?
I'm kidding.
Especially we're looking for mattresses, and we'd like to know if you have any recommendations.
Or all-night electronic stores.
That doesn't exist anymore. It's called Amazon.
Yeah.
Now they're down to 1 day delivery,
Yeah.
and probably in a couple of years it'll be 1 hour delivery.
Yeah. Be like a drone dropping it on your house.
But I want it now. I want it now. I want it when I want to walk into the Good Guys and get it. I miss the Good Guys.
Good guys. They were good guys.
They were much better in Circuit City. Remember Circuit City?
Of course.
Good Guys was much better in Circuit City. They were not good. Like Best Buy is way better than Circuit City.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm glad we can all agree on that.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so with that said, thank you for joining us on this very special holiday week. We wish you we hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. We suggest you watch the Poseidon Adventure.
And we hope that all of your secrets are not Santa. What does that mean?
And we'll look forward to you joining us next year for all new episodes of the 430 movie, starting in the first week of 2020. No hiatus, right into the new season. So come and join us, won't you? And if you're a fan of this podcast, you may want to check out Electric Surge's other podcasts like Inglorious Trexperts every Saturday and The Rebel and the Rogue, a Star Wars podcast on Tuesdays. And, of course, Best Movies Never Made every other Monday. And if you really like us, you can check us out on our video podcasts, which are available on the Electric Now channel, on Stirr and Distro TV, and soon on the Electric Now app. So check out our, you can also find, in addition to our own Electric Surge podcast, episodes of Leverage, Librarians, movies from the Electric Library, and many other treats. So check out the Electric Now channel on video, and you may even see us. How exciting for you.
Wonderful for you.
Wonderful. And if you enjoyed the podcast, please rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. If you think we're on glue and don't like our jokes about mattress shopping, please don't say anything. Also, a very special thanks to Bill Ritter and everyone here at Electric Surge Network. Bill, what should we get you? What should we get Bill Ritter for
my God.
for Christmas?
Caligula.
Oh yeah, Caligula.
He
Have you
looks
seen it?
The movies at home. All screeners.
Oh yeah, you got to catch up on all screeners. That's true.
I got 10 already.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
my
what
goodness.
movie are you going to put out for Christmas? What's your movie? What do you want to add to the week? What's your?
I don't know. I mean,
We stumped you.
King of Hearts. I get him King of Hearts.
King of Hearts. Okay.
Maybe,
I'm gonna write that
maybe none of you have seen Departures. It was a movie that won the International Best Movie of the Year. It was the last movie I saw on committee, and I said, "This is the best movie," and it won.
Well, there you go. Departures. So you heard it from Bill. King of Hearts for Steve.
I wrote it down.
Departures for us. And Sleep Number for.
Number 35.
So anyway, look, thank you, Bill. It's been a great year. We thank you for making us sound good all year long. John, thanks for stepping in today for producer Natalie Miscali, who's traveling this week. And, of course, a very, very special thanks to Dean Devlin, who made the Electric Surge Network possible and has been a champion of these podcasts from the beginning. And we thank you, Dean, for that. So until next year, Electric News, Eyewitness News starts now.
This episode brought to you by Slim's Throat Emporium, home of the Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster.
You're listening to the Electric Surge Network.